Hey guys, what's up? It is DFS Up North here, aka Josh Thomas. I am here to talk to you today about some general strategy on how we play on Thrive Fantasy. All right, for the PGA Contest. Thrive, if you don't know, is a somewhat newer site that works based on props. All right, so the contest structures are similar in that you want to get enough points, right, to win a contest. The person with the most points wins the contest. But instead of building rosters for PGA, what you're actually doing is you're building a roster of props. All right. And in a normal contest on Thrive, they give you 10 props to choose from, and you are either going to pick the over or the under on that prop. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like in a minute. So you have 5, and the person with the 5 that gets you the highest point total at the end of the day, they're each one-day contests, similar to like a showdown, is going to be the winner. So it's a lot of fun. It makes you think about golf in maybe just a little bit of a different capacity. There's opportunities for correlation. I really like it. It's a lot of fun. And I've had some questions in the Slack about, hey, how do we go about strategizing and building lineups or rosters on Thrive? So I wanted to make this video and kind of talk you a little bit through my strategy and how I go about trying to build lineups over there. All right, so I'm gonna bring up my screen. This is the contest for this week. It's a great contest, by the way. The Tiger versus a Phil. There's not a ton of entries in here. So it's something that I am pretty excited about. Let me see. All right. So as you can see over here on this screen, there's not a ton of entries. I think there's like 15 in here right now. The prize payouts, it pays out to 46th place. It's not, the one thing about Thrive is that you basically what their min caches are not, their min caches are basically getting your money back and maybe a little bit more. All right. So they're very somewhat top heavy. All right. And I think that really needs to come into your head when you're building lineups. All right. Because like I'm building lineups, like I don't care about this 30. So let's say I'm going to put, 5, 6 lineups in. I'm trying to win this 1250. All right. I'm trying to, 25x my money. I'm not trying to min cash, and that's sort of my strategy for GPPs all the time. I think some people are, they're so worried about getting that 6 of 6 to have a chance to win, and for me, it's I'd rather lose than min cash, right? If I min cash, that means that I did something wrong in my process. All right. So I'm looking for those top 1% lineups, and that's sort of how I build over here on Thrive too. Again, $30 doesn't do anything for me. That's $5 more than what I put in. I want that $12.50. All right. And that's, again, I think in DFS in general, that really is how you should be thinking. Not thinking to min cash. If you're just looking to min cash, then play those cash lineups, right? It's a little bit off topic here, I guess. But so let's take a look at how this works. So like I said, you pick 5 out of 10 options. All right. So for this event, this is for the match between Phil and Tiger. So there's only 2 groups. You actually have to pick 7 out of 10. And the reason they do that is so that there's less of a chance. There's less of a chance of a tie, right? They're making you pick a few more. So there is, 10 props here, and you again pick over or under on each of the props. And your goal is to get the most points possible. In a normal week where you only have to pick 5, right? We're looking at, typically when, the nice thing is they show you what your maximum points possible are down here. Typically I want to be over 400. Now there's been weeks where I've seen, a 375 win, and then the next day it was 520, right? So yeah, and when that happens, when those lower number happens, it's because likely something that people felt was a lock didn't pan out, right? So the field lost out on 100 and some points, and that's going to drop the win total down there. So like if you're going to pick 5 props, right, we want, on average about 100 for each. So we're looking at 500 for a win. You can still cash by not hitting all of your props, but for the most part, you really need to hit all your props for you to be in the money. And that's sort of the balance. And what I like about this is that you got to balance the risk with the reward, right? So it's not just about picking the best lineups or picking the easiest props. You got to build for some upside. And I like that sort of strategy that goes into it. For this, like for the match, like we're going to talk about here in a second, I'm looking for around 700 points, maybe more. All right. So like I said, the way these work, again, 68.5, the total for Phil. So that's the line. STRS means strokes. All right. So they're saying that on average, we're going to say Phil's team's going to get 68.5 strokes. And now you need to pick the over, meaning that it would be 69 or higher for their team score, or under, meaning that would be 68 or lower. All right. You look at the point totals here, the over is 90, the under is 110, right? So what that's telling you is that the over is more likely to happen, and the more likely something is to happen, the less points that you're going to get. A perfect example of that is if we scroll down to the bottom here, they have a 0.5 total HIO. HIO is hole in one, right? So the odds of that happening are what? Not very strong. Okay, so the over would be 190 points. That's a huge total, but the under, you only get 10 points. So if you don't think anybody's going to get a hole in one, you're only going to get 10 points. Now, is that worth making a pick on? In my opinion, no. Stuff like that is a sucker bet. All right, so let's going to talk through a little bit of my strategy here. So sometimes when we have 10 props, we do occasionally have guys that show up multiple times. And when that happens, there's an opportunity for you to do some correlation. All right, in an event like this, where there's a match and there's only two groups, there's tons of opportunities for correlation. So what I mean by that is that, so like Team Phil, 68.5 total strokes, right? The under is 110 points. Hey, that's a nice little point total here. All right. So if I say that, hey, Phil's going to shoot under 68 or 68.5. All right. That's 4 under par for his team. Now, that's 4 birdies, right? Or possibility of him getting an eagle. Well, if I take the under there, I might as well take the under here or the over here, because I'm saying, okay, Phil's going to shoot better than 68.5. If he's going to do that, hey, chances are he might have an eagle. And I think there's an opportunity for a ton of eagles on this course. So now we can correlate that with the over at 130 points. Then I can also correlate it and say, okay, man, like let's say Phil makes 4 birdies and eagle, he shoots 6 under, that's 66. Now I hit all of them, right? And I can take the over here on birdies too, and get those 80 points. So you can kind of correlate your lineups like that. All right, and you could do the same thing for Tiger, right? He's going to shoot under 120. He's going to get an eagle. That's 225 points, and then that over of 4.5 total birdies. So now we're saying Tiger's going to shoot like 64. You can do that. You can go the opposite way. You can kind of hedge your bets on it if you want, and say like, okay, I think Tiger's going to, I don't think Tiger's going to, I think he's going to make an eagle, but I don't think he's going to get more than 4 birdies, right? So you could, say, hey, all those things can still happen together. And again, that's sort of the conversation that you got to have in your head while you're building. All right. And you can correlate that again here with pars, right? The par totals are ones that, like, on a regular week, I struggle to, it's hard to jump on them, especially when they're like this one for Phil is 100 and 100. It's on a normal week, right? If they were just teeing it up here and Phil was at 11.5 total pars, like, that's a pretty standard day for him, right? So that's ones that I tend to avoid because it's just they're not easy to determine. Here, though, I don't mind taking a stance in in a 2-person event. I think that's realistic. What I do like is like the 12.5 when they down here. So like if this was Team Phil 12.5 total pars and bogeys, like if this was a regular event, that would be the 75 points. I take those 75 points, lock it in, and move on. Because it's pretty likely that Phil's not going to have more than 5 birdies, especially at a difficult course like Medalist. So in a regular event, those are the ones you want to jump on. Again, so you can look down here, your maximum points. These ice picks, these are very nice. These are in case of emergency. So like in this event, doesn't really matter, right? But in a regular event, right, we can say, okay, these are my ice picks, and let's say that Thursday morning before he tees off, Jason Day pulls out WDs now, and you had a prop that was on Jason Day shooting a certain score, right? If you have an ice pick built in, right, now they take away that prop and your ice pick fills in for that, which is super nice. So you don't have to be on top of it. Now, if Jason Day was to tee off, play, and then WD, and then the ice pick doesn't matter, right? But it's a nice little thing so that you don't have to get up at 6 a.m. on a Thursday if you're playing here, and jump on it. The ice picks are really, really nice for like NBA, MLB, NFL. They're not as big of a deal in golf. We do get the WD bug sometimes, but in NBA, those are huge. All right. So like I said, it's super easy. It's an interesting way to think about golf. You kind of got to work back, thinking on pars, like from 18. Okay, how many birdies, stuff like this, you can really correlate. It's a lot of fun. I really like this site. It's a ton of fun to play on. I've had a lot of, just started, kind of our relationship with Thrive back in March and doing some research and playing. And it's, like I said, it's been a lot of fun. And the best part, you guys, is the overlay. There is some sweet overlay. So there's always money to be made over here. But yeah, again, this is kind of just my primer for how to play. Like I said, you fill in the 7, you press submit, and you're ready to go. But if you have any questions, again, reach out for me in Slack. This is kind of evergreen content. I'll keep pumping this out every couple of weeks. So for new guys who are maybe playing over here for the first time, you can check it out. So, all right, have a great day, guys, and we'll chat soon.